Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is my first non-voiceover video, so it should be fun. And if you like these, leave a comment below and I'll do more. Today I'm going to do a Q&A. I asked you a couple days ago on Instagram to ask me any of your hair questions, and I got a lot of questions. And then I've been getting some on YouTube too that I haven't been really able to explain really well over like a message back. So I'm going to try to explain those here in person. So let's go to Instagram. Did this 3 days ago. And I'm sorry if I don't pronounce your names right, or I'm super horrible at like reading hashtags or reading like words all scrunched together. So if I like totally screwed up, sorry. But I'm gonna try to do my best. Okay, so the Alones, I think is how you pronounce it. They ask, how do you normally formulate a base bump and what color line do you use for them? So a base bump is essentially just a permanent color. It needs to be an inch or less of new growth. If it's anything further than an inch, then you need to do a different step, and I'll explain that in a second. But it has to be a permanent color because what you're doing is what permanent color does is it lifts and then it deposits. So it has to be a higher level than what their natural is. And so you want it to lift and then take it off before it deposits the color. It's just a really fast and quick way to get that root a little bit brighter than the natural without using bleach. So like the one I did, it's like the highlights and lowlights with base bump. That was my mom, and I normally do a base bump on her. I used to do 10 or 8B, which stands for blue, not beige, because that will cancel out any of the orange tones or the warm tones coming up from lifting. But she doesn't mind warm tones in her hair. So I just switched it to 10N or 8N, depending on what we do, because I don't mind the warmth, which N is neutral. And the color line that I use is Logix by Matrix. I use them pretty much. I learned how to use them in a salon I used to work at, and so I've just carried that over to when I work at my own loft, just because I know that color really well. That color line, and so that's what I use, and you have to use the permanent. I usually use the full or the sheer line, but those don't lift, so you have to use a permanent color, which you could use any color line to do that. It just makes sure it's a permanent color or it's not going to work. So that's what I normally do. It'll depend on the different color lines, but Logix, their neutral tends to be a little bit more warm. So if you wanted to nix out any warms, use a B, like an 8 or a 10B, instead of 8 or 10N in that line. Actually, they do have a neutral line in the Logix, so you could use that too if you wanted to stay on the cooler side, if you're too afraid to use a blue. But their hair is not going to turn blue unless you do it after a highlight. So you could either do it before a highlight or after a highlight. I usually do it before a highlight because then it doesn't take as long for the highlights to lift because the base has been lifted a little bit already. But if you do it after, you have to be really careful with the blonde and if you're doing a blue base bump, because then sometimes there can be a little bit of blue left in the blonde. But that's just an easy quick, just do a little bleach swipe right there for like a minute and it'll come out. So that's easy fix. So that's kind of how I do base bumps. Okay, and then Beauty by Yessie asked me a million questions, so thank you for doing that. So I'm going to try to answer most of them. So the first one is, what's your favorite toner for blondes? That's a hard question because there are a lot of different shades of blonde or tones of blonde. So I really love the 10V by Logix, 10V Sheer. That's really pretty. It's really subtle. It does take out yellow, but it's not going to do something like a Shades would do. A Shades is a little stronger. So, but if my client's already pretty blonde. I just want to cool her down a little bit and give her a little bit of frost. I will use 10B sheer, and I love that toner. And then usually what I do for toners is I do Shades EQ. So my all-time favorite Shades EQ toner is 9NB, which is Irish Cream, and I'll do that, but I'll add like just a drop of Chrome, which is 9T, and that just nixes any warmth like fully, and then the 9NB like has its time to shine, and it's gorgeous. I freaking love that toner. So that's really good. And then I do a lot with mixing Platinum Ice, which is 9P. I use that a lot. So just like the 9s in Shades EQ. And I like to mix Shades EQ. What's your favorite texturizing spray? My favorite texturizing spray is the Oribe Dry Texture Spray. It's fantastic and it smells heavenly. They also have like a beach spray that's kind of similar, and it's called Opera Beach, and I love that one too. But those are pretty pricey. So my like alternative one that I normally use on clients is, I really like I carry Matrix Style Link, and so their texturizing spray in that line is really good too. So I like that one. How much are your starting prices for hair color and retouch? So I think I'm gonna do a whole video on like pricing, because that's like a lot of information, and it totally depends on the person and the city you're in and how long you've been working. So I'll do a video on that later, and if you're interested in having me do a video, comment below that you want to see that video. Okay, let's see. What's your favorite color line? I use Logic's, and then Shades EQ is really good. By Redken. Do you use clay lightener? I've never used a clay lightener. I find that the lighteners that I use normally are fine when I do balayage. I just mix them a little thicker so I don't put as much developer in. I've used Verilight's okay. It's not my all-time favorite, but I have used it in videos. I really like Flash Lifts or Redken Flash Lifts or Lightmaster by Matrix. I use both of those, and they're really good. Do you like sulfate-free shampoo? Yes, it's obviously preferred because sulfates aren't very good for your hair. I'm not a huge stickler to using sulfate-free shampoos, but it is better for your hair. What's your favorite hair treatment not including Olaplex? I love Olaplex. I used to use it in my old salon, but it's pricey. So I found that the Redken pH Bonder is fabulous. It is comparable to Olaplex, so that's a good alternative, and I find it works really well. It does say you don't need to bump up your developer, and that there's no like longer wait time, but I do feel like there is a little bit longer wait time, and you do kind of need to bump up your developer. So not necessarily as much as Olaplex, but there is like a longer processing time, and I find myself when I use 20 volume that it takes a long time, whereas if I use 30 volume, it's okay. So I would probably use like 30 volume and the pH Bonder, just so it lightens quicker than what it does with the 20 volume. But I do really like it. So my favorite dry shampoo, well, there's a lot of good ones out there. I sell the Style Link one, the Matrix Style Link dry shampoo. But I do love Batiste, and you can get that at like Ulta or beauty brands, and they have like all different colors and all different scents, and it works really well. So I wouldn't spend gobs of money on a dry shampoo if it's gonna work the same. So I really do like Batiste. What do you use for root volumizing without the tacky feeling? So Matrix has a really good, like, they just came out with a new like range of like texture products for their styling. Also, disclaimer, this video is not sponsored by Matrix. That's just what I use, and so I know it really well. Back to what I was saying. They have like this new volumizing mousse. It's like supposed to be a dry texture mousse, and you're supposed to be able to use it in wet hair or dry hair. I put it in my hair dry today, and I find it worked really well. Like, I don't feel any like tackiness or stickiness normally. And then they also have, so they have that. They have a normal like volumizing mousse, so that's not like the dry texture mousse. So those two are good. Yeah, that's normally what I do. And I find that if you put it on the root while it's wet and you do a nice blowout, it gives more volume. So, and you always want to blow dry the hair away from the way it's going to lay and let it cool that way, so that adds more volume once you flip it back. Like if the hair goes this way, you want to blow dry it that way and let it cool. Then you all flip it back and you'll have more volume here, same on all the parts of the head. So, what's your favorite purple shampoo? Okay, I love, love, love the Goldwell purple shampoo. The conditioner is fantastic. It can get through any tangle ever. It makes the hair so smooth, so shiny. I love the conditioner, and I love the shampoo too. Like, I like them together, but they are super pale purple. They're more like a violet, so it's not going to really like at the bowl like take away the yellow. I have used the Joico purple shampoo and the, I forget the name of it, but I'll leave the link to it below. I always find that I need to use a toner even if I use purple shampoo. There are rare cases that I don't need to use a toner after I use purple shampoo, but I mean, a purple shampoo is not going to like last as long. So what I would do is I would send my I would tone them at the salon, my bright blonde clients, and then I would send them home probably with the Goldwell, because it's going to upkeep that toner, but it's not like a super dark purple shampoo that's going to make your hair purple every time you use it. So I like the Goldwell one the best, probably. So sorry, I'm totally gonna screw this up. Ari La Salgado, sorry about that, asks, what is the best technique to do all over highlights on blondes and on gray hair? So I actually have a video on gray coverage with highlights. So I've done it two different ways. It depends on how much gray they have. So all of these like color questions really depend on what your client has, their hair history, what their goal is, how much upkeep they want. Like, so this is just in general. You have to like really figure out about your clients and be specific. But if like she was 50% gray, I would probably do the highlights first and then go through and put a root color on in between the foils, and then like on the very tip of the foil, because if you put highlights over a root color, that's going to take forever to lift and they're going to be warm. So I would probably foil and then go in with a root color, which on one of my videos I did it the opposite, but her hair lightens really well even with a root color on it. So it all depends on your client. Jessica Wren asks, what's your go-to formulation for an icy blonde when the blonde just has a little bit of yellow tint? I would probably use the 10V Sheer by Matrix. I love that. Or you could do like a Platinum Ice with clear. That would work really well too. And then Jessica Wren also asked, do you have a favorite brand or color formulation that you use to achieve the silvery gray look? Redken Shades EQ has a really good toner, Chrome 9T. That can get, you have to watch that one because that one's really like potent and it like really gets in there and processes quickly, so you have to watch it. But that would be a really pretty like gray, like that, and mixed with 9V, the Platinum Ice. So those two would be really pretty. Okay, Miss Rihanna asked, what's your favorite extension brand to use, and are you in a salon suite? Yes, I'm in a salon suite. I'm in salon lofts, so I have my own room. I used to work in a salon down in Broad Ripple. It's a place in Indy. In my salon, I use Donna Bella extensions, and I actually prefer tape-in extensions over bonded extensions. I do both, but I try to get all my clients to do tape-ins. They're a little more expensive. Well, for Donna Bella, they're a little more expensive than bonded extensions, but they last longer. Like, you can reuse them, and then they're faster to put in and out. So, and they're better for the hair. They're not like super tiny, so it's not so much weight on like a little strand of hair. So I like the Donna Bella tape-in extensions. Susie Hair Paint asks, so what would you do to a naturally level 2-3 who wants to end up cool or ashy blonde in the end? Well, first of all, you need to tell them that it's going to take more than one appointment. It's probably going to take 2 or 3 if they're a natural 2 or 3, because that's like almost black. And if they wanted to be ashy blonde, that's like all the way on the other side of the level scale. So like all the way. A warmer blonde might be a little bit more achievable, but ashy blonde, like, you have to get white hair to get it ashy most of the time. So first off, it's going to be more than one appointment. It's probably going to be more like 3 or 4 appointments. So it would depend on what the client wanted. If they wanted like a full, like every piece of their hair completely blonde, you'd have to do a bleach and tone. You'd have to do that multiple times, like each time you come in. If they wanted more of the Rudy look, I would probably do balayage or like teasing all under here. And then I would do highlights, like regular foil highlights, and then balayage the pieces that are left out in between those highlights. Yeah, and I would just do that process a couple times. Like, keep them like a week or 2 weeks in between appointments. And then you use a toner, like each time, like a cool tone toner. So yeah, it'd take a while, but it's achievable. And like, they would have to do a lot of like, they need like good shampoo and conditioner that's moisturizing, hydrating. They would need to do treatments. They would have to really take care of their hair, because that's a huge change. Nordic Phoenix asks, how would you add an overall warm, rich golden tone to a level 4 brunette with subtle level 6 highlights that are pulling to ashy, cool or ashy? Well, that's a good problem to have, because getting warm is easier than getting cool. So I would do, if they're level 4 brunette and they wanted a subtle level 6 highlights, like, just put 6N from Logix on their head. Yeah, 6N sheer. That's easy. Just put that all over their head for like 10 minutes. They're good to go. Most likely. So I get this a lot. Haley7 Girl asked this specifically, but this has gotten asked on my backcombing videos, how to brush out the backcombing. So it takes a little bit of time. In my 3rd video on it, she had like a ton of hair, so it took a while, but it's worth it. What I usually do is I rinse out all of the bleach. So rinse her completely out. Even on the backcombing, you can get it wet. You want to use cooler water because you want the hair strand in the cuticle to close, get smaller, so that detangles easier. If they're wide open with warm water, then they're gonna be like extra big. So rinse it all out, towel dry it pretty well, and I just put a ton of conditioner all in, like really mix it into the backcomb part, and start like taking each section and pulling it apart a little bit with my fingers, and then using a wet brush and like gently combing out each different section. That's how I take out the backcomb. So it's pretty simple. So those are pretty much all the questions I got on that Instagram post and a couple from YouTube. If you have any other questions, leave a comment down below and I'll try to get to them, or I'll do another Q&A. Also guys, if you wanted to see other different types of video like this, let me know in specifics in the comment box below. And I was thinking we could do like a Cosmoprof or Salon Centric haul, because that would be fun because I get a ton of stuff from there. Since I am like I'm a booth rant, I have to buy all my own product. So I could show you all what I get, which would be fun because I love going there. But yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And if you wanted to schedule an appointment with me, you can go to my Instagram and all my contact information in, I think, no, you can just click on contact in my Instagram and like email me. So you can do that and then follow me on Instagram too. That'd be fun. I'm in the Indianapolis area, so if you're around here, cool. Thanks guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.